So, another episode, another video where I am going to cover all the stupid everybody else is purposely ignoring, purposely denying, and have absolutely no intention of recognizing. Okay? Because there were certain scenes in this episode that were full-bore batshit impossible. Made no sense, were absolutely ridiculous. Okay? And I wanted to watch people who love this, who are fanboys of the show, reviewing it, covering the episode, just to see how they would justify and explain certain scenes in this episode. And I watched almost a dozen, okay? And they all did the exact same thing. And this is how I can establish all of you fanboys are full of shit and you're all full of shit. Because the scenes that were full-bore, batshit impossible, they just conveniently never mentioned. They just kind of skipped that part. Any stupid in this episode that they could not explain, not justify, they just conveniently just didn't talk about. Oh, we're not gonna, they'll get to a scene, because I don't want to give spoilers, but there'll be a certain scene, they'll have like 5 seconds before the stupid scene happens, but they'll just conveniently, oh no, we're just gonna skip that and go to the next scene over. And it's like, oh, you know it's stupid. You know you can't defend it. So you guys, it's not that you aren't stupid and don't know the stupid. You do know the stupid, and you are purposely ignoring it for the sake of ignoring it so you can like this show, which is just as bad as being so stupid you don't know it's stupid. Now, the problem with this episode is that there are tons of little stupid. And I don't want to spend an hour covering all the little stupid because there's enough big stupid and medium stupid. But I just want you to know that there's stuff that I'm not going to cover because I just don't want to spend an hour doing it. Now, there was one scene in the recap that I want to cover because it helps establish the bullshit from episode 4. And that was when they showed the recap of Kara shooting the bounty hunter that was about to shoot Baby Yoda. Because in the recap, when they have the scene of Kara shooting the bounty hunter, all of a sudden, the blaster sounds like a blaster. It's muted and nowhere near the gunshot sound and the echoing as it was in episode 4. Because the show is now admitting, yeah, it sounds like a blaster rifle. So in episode 4, they purposely changed and altered the way the blaster sounds just so that the people in the farm and the Mandalorian would have heard the gunshot. Because when she shoots the bounty hunter in the recap, it's a muted blaster shot sound. There's no way the Mandalorian would have heard it. I'm just mentioning it to let you know that even the show is establishing the bullshit in a previous episode. So anyway, starts off with the fight scene between the Mandalorian and the bounty hunter in the ships. And again, this is a little thing, but I just want to cover this. It was like, why isn't the Mandalorian firing back? He has a gunship, and it's not like the show doesn't know that he has a gunship because he ends up shooting him. So it's like, what? The budget didn't call for it? Just bothered me. I didn't understand. So all he's trying to do is escape. And I'm going, well, if all he wants to do is escape, you got a hyperdrive, just do that. Nope, story can't do that because then you wouldn't have the scene. Like, the story needs to have stupid happen so that they can have the scene that they want. Do you understand? That's why I'm using this example. there's no reason that the Mandalorian couldn't have just gone onto hyperdrive and escaped, because all he's trying to do is escape. He's not trying to land and head to Tatooine. The only reason he goes to Tatooine is because he's leaking fuel. So that wasn't his destination. Why didn't he just go into hyperdrive and escape? No, can't do that, because the story doesn't want him to. Oh, another little thing. I'm sorry, I guess I am going to cover some of the little things. So you see the bounty hunter shoot the wing of the Razor's crest. And you see the explosion. You then see the bounty hunter shoot one of the engines. And you see the explosion. And then the Mandalorian does that little trick, and the bounty hunter flies over him. And as the bounty hunter is flying over him, the bounty hunter's ship hits the Mandalorian's other engine, and you see all the debris. So the Mandalorian's wing got shot, his engine got shot, and his other engine got hit. But when you see the ship, not a scratch on it. It's like, what? Is the ship made out of Beskar steel too? Oh, I'll get to the Beskar steel aspect of this show. Again, it's a little thing, but it's like, come on. Don't have it be shot up. Show the explosion, and then show that the ship is in perfect condition. Okay. So now we get to one of the bullshit scenes in this episode. Now, again, the Mandalorian just got one of his engines shot, got his one wing shot, got the other engine hit, and the only damage he suffered was he's losing fuel. Okay? And his ship is in perfect condition, but now suddenly he's drifting in space and has no power. How? Okay? Because it's not like... Oh, I'm getting out of myself. So now, Mando is in the ship, no power, drifting. He walks up to a dead panel. There's no lights on this panel. This panel is dead, Jim. It's dead. He pushes a button on the dead panel, and the ship powers up again. It's magic. How did that happen? Any of you fanboys of this show, explain to me and justify him pushing a button on a dead panel and it powers up the ship? This is one of those scenes that all these people who are fans of this show, who are recapping the episode, conveniently bypass this little scene. It's a little scene. It's not a big deal. The fact that he pushed the button and repowered the ship, no problem. So anyway, lands on Tatooine, ends up on Mos Eisley, yay, whatever. Another little thing. It's not so much stupid as the fact that the show is purposely doing this. You've just established in the previous episode that a bounty hunter was able to find Mando and Baby Yoda even though he was hiding. Okay? And he has to leave the planet. The episode starts with the Mandalorian being chased by a bounty hunter. The Mandalorian lands in Mos Eisley, a more wretched hive of... Oh, God. A more wretched hive of scum and villainy you will not find. Okay? And he leaves Baby Yoda on the ship alone. Like, what? Because since the show can't have the Mandalorian bring Baby Yoda with him this time, unlike with the Mudhorn and every other time, this time they can't have the Mandalorian bring Baby Yoda with them. So having Baby Yoda alone in Mos Eisley with bounty hunters who are on his ass. No, it's safe now. He doesn't even have a barmaid to look after. It's not like he even asked the mechanic, oh, by the way, keep an eye on Baby Yoda. No, he just basically walks out, leaves, no problem. It's fine. And then, I can't remember exactly how. Now remember, in the episode, what happens is, Baby Yoda's, I think, asleep, and of the door, of the room, the Mandalorian closes the door and leaves, right? Well, later on, we go back to the hangar, and you hear the sound of a door opening. And it's like, well, wait a minute. The show just had Baby Yoda open the door to his room. How? Do any of you care? Of course not. How did Baby Yoda figure out to be able to open up the door from his room? No, you didn't care, did you? You didn't care. Because this is another scene where it was just conveniently bypassed. Anyway, so the Mandalorian goes to the same canteen that we see in A New Hope, because apparently Mos Eisley only has one canteen, I guess? I don't know. And we meet Toro, sitting in the spot where Han Solo was. Now, I'm gonna admit something, and there's no way I was the only person who's doing this, so I don't feel too bad. Because once I saw where Toro was sitting, I paused, and I actually was looking to see if there was the scorch mark on the wall, from the remastered version of A New Hope. But no, there wasn't. And there's no way I was the only one. I feel safe admitting that, because there's no way I was the only person who paused to go, oh, where's the scorch mark? No, there's no scorch mark. Okay, whatever. So anyway, we get to Toro. Now, I need somebody to explain this to me, because this is the show not understanding what the hell they're doing or talking about. Okay. Now, Toro wants to be a member of the guild. Okay? Now, to be a member of the guild, he has to bring in a bounty first. But to be able to get a bounty in the first place, you have to be a member of the guild. So if he was able to get the bounty in the first place, that would mean he's a member of the guild. But he's not a member of the guild until he gets his first bounty. How do you get your first bounty if you have to be a guild member before you even are able to get a bounty? This show doesn't understand. This doesn't make any sense. Not only that, remember, this is his first job. And his first job is a 10,000 credit job. What? In episode 1, the biggest job that the Mandalorian could get was 5,000 credits. Yet a first-timer was somehow able to get a 10,000 credit job? How does the guild work? You can't ask, because the show sure as hell doesn't know. Not only does the show not understand how the guild works, it doesn't understand how the gear it pulled out of its ass works. Because we get one of the most amazing scenes in this episode. Oh, before we even get to that, he pulls out a puck, pulls out a fob. Where's the chain code? Oops, did the show forget that chain codes exist? Because the Mandalorian asked for that for Baby Yoda. Where's the chain code? No chain code. Nothing. And he does it, and Toro didn't know that the target was something mercenary, like a expert mercenary assassin. Like, what information do these guys get on their targets? Like, what information other than age does the chain code provide? Who cares? It's not like he got a chain code anyway, so we don't even know what information the chain code provides. Not only that, apparently the chain code isn't even relevant because Toro doesn't have one. He's got a puck, and he's got a... How did he get a puck and a fob? Anyway, so, again, we got to get to the scene that all the people reviewing and covering this episode just conveniently bypassed and ignored. So he decides, so he goes, I'm going to make it, we're partners. And then, I don't know how to do this without laughing because it's so... Toro takes the fob and he smashes it. And I'm looking at him going, the hell are you doing? And Toro says, don't worry, I have it memorized. What in the name of God do you have memorized? It's a tracker. You need that to track your target. There's nothing to... Like the chain code maybe you could memorize if you have one. What is there to memorize on the fob? You need the fob to find... Oh, what's her name? Fennec. You need the tracker to find Fennec. No, you don't. I just memorized. What did you memorize? Those of you who are fans of this show, justify that scene. I dare you. How he can break the fob and go, don't worry, I've memorized it. What the hell in the name of God did he memorize? What? And not only that, they end up going into the Dune Sea without a tracker. What did he memorize? There's no way they could have found Fennec. They're just simply driving around in the desert with no tracker. This makes no sense. To even establish proof that they have no goddamn clue where Fennec is, they run into her by fluke. By pure fluke, because they run into that, what's it called? The dewback. If they had never run into the dewback, they would have just kept going around. Come on! How do you not see this and go, this makes no sense? The show has no goddamn clue what it's doing. It has zero idea. How do you break the fob, the tracking device, and expect to somehow find your target? So then, as they're traveling, they stop and they meet some, Tusken Raiders. They meet some Tusken Raiders. And they have to trade passage to enter their lands. Oh, you didn't have to for the last 20 minutes you were flying around. If you hadn't slowed down and stopped, you would have never encountered the Tusken Raiders in the first place. You could have just kept moving. What were they gonna do? It's not like there was a toll booth. It's not like they were. And not only that, they stop. They get out. He sees the Tusken Raiders, and he turns around, and literally, then there's this one scene in the background. It's the Mandalorian, and there's nobody else. You go to Toro. Toro turns around, and there's two Tusken Raiders right there. Where did they come from? Like Why did did the Mandalorian see them, and they just kind of just, it's not like there's, excuse me, it's not like there's footprints in the sand. So where did they come from? Why weren't they shooting them? What? Since when do Tusken Raiders negotiate? What is? This show is pulling shit out of its ass. It's making this up as it goes along. And you guys are just along for the ride, aren't you? You're just along for the ride. You literally don't care that two Tusken Raiders just magically appeared, didn't shoot at them, but decided we're going to negotiate? Oh, and by the way, the Mandalorian just happens to be able to speak the sign language of Tusken Raiders. Of course he does! Because the show needed him to. I have to bypass all this crap just so I can... So, they're at the Dune Sea, and again, they're at the Dune Sea, and it's like, where the hell are they going? They have no fob. They have no they have no tracker. Where are they going? So, Oh, so they have passage now, right? It's a little thing. I'm going to admit it's a little thing. How does this work now? So, did those two Tusken Raiders now tell every other Tusken Raider in the Dune Sea, which apparently there aren't any? It's only those two, right? It was only those four altogether. Do all the other Tusken Raiders now know that these two guys paid for passage into their lands? So now we're in the middle of the desert, no fob, blah, blah, blah. Now, so they run into the dewback, right? And then, so they're on the dune, and I noticed this. The Mandalorian doesn't have his pulse rifle. Why doesn't he have his pulse rifle? What? Why would, I'm sorry, I'm legitimately curious. Why didn't the Mandalorian bring his pulse rifle? It would make sense. I just thought it was just noticeable. I just don't understand why he didn't have his pulse rifle. So the Mandalorian goes down to investigate, and the bounty hunter that's attached to the dewback has a fob, and you see it blinking. Now, Fennec is I'd say about a mile away. Okay? And is able to see the Mandalorian. I don't know how, whatever. We'll let that one, I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. Here's the thing, though. You get a shot of the Mandalorian and Toro up on the sand dune. It's about 500 yards away. Okay? Fennec takes a shot, and of course, hits the Mandalorian in the pauldron. I'm sorry, this has got to be a running gag, okay? Because it's happened in every episode. It's not a coincidence anymore, okay? It's got to be a running gag because every time anybody shoots the Mandalorian, it's going to be in the pauldron because it's one of the parts that made out of Beskar steel. Doesn't it? Again, eventually she hits him. Now, so she hits him in the pauldron. He runs, and he basically traverses about 500 yards uphill in the sand in about 10 seconds. And it's like, no, sorry. Because she only has time for one other shot. That entire distance, he covers. Again, if I had never seen the distance between Toro and the Mandalorian, I wouldn't have had a problem. But come on, you literally see him as a speck in the distance, and he's able to cross that in like 10 seconds, and she's only able to get one shot up. Whatever. So here's the other question. Why the hell is Fennec there? Why is Fennec in the middle of the Dune Sea? She's supposed to go to Maz... Oh, shoot. Maz Aldo? I can't remember. She's supposed to go to Maz Aldo. So why was she staying in the middle of the Dune Sea? For what? She already shot the bounty hunter that was already there. So she's sticking around in case other bounty hunters show up? And how did she get there? She doesn't have a speeder or a land speeder or a speeder bike, because after they capture her, they have to walk back because there's not, like, do you understand how this show just bypasses any type of logic just so that they can have the scenes they want? How did Fennec get to the Dune Sea? To the location she was at? Did she walk? She doesn't have transportation, because then after they had captured her, Mando would have gone, well, we'll just use her transportation. But she didn't have any. So then here's their plan. We're gonna stay here. Oh, hold on, sorry. Oh, the armor. This show has now established shooting the Mandalorian is irrelevant. Okay? Shooting the Mandalorian is irrelevant because she shoots him from, I'm going to go at least a mile away. Okay? And it doesn't penetrate his armor. And he says it's because of the range. And I'm going, fine. That's legitimate. That's legitimate. Because of the range and because of the armor, that's why the shot didn't hurt. But later on, they go to her, okay? They ride to where she is. It's literally point blank range with a sniper rifle. Hits him full bore on. Range is no longer an issue. And it still doesn't penetrate his armor. A shot that earlier in the episode, the Mandalorian says only stopped the shot because of the range, still stopped the shot even though range was no longer a factor. So why shoot him anymore? There's no more tension, show. There's no more tension. And besides, why shoot him when punching him barehanded is more effective and more damaging to the Mandalorian than shooting him at point blank range with an MK modified rifle? How can you take this show seriously? Okay? I can't laugh at this anymore. You can't take this show seriously. There's nothing anymore. There's nothing. So, here's their plan. They'll wait until dark. And Toro goes, well, what if she escapes? And then the Mandalorian goes, she won't escape. She has the high ground. She'll wait for us to make the first move. She's a mile away. She can leave anytime she wants. The show knows this. The show knows there is no reason for Fennec to hang around. She's a goddamn mile away. She can leave anytime she wants. But they need her to stay, so they came up with this bullshit excuse. Tell me you fans bought this bullshit excuse. Seriously. Come on. Why? Not only that, she never moves from that spot. She never, why couldn't, at the very least, why couldn't she have moved to a different part of the ridge? That way, they would have gone to the last. This is an assassin after all, right? It's gone to the point now where talking about all the stupid is just redundant. It's just endless. So Fennec stayed at the same spot for hours, and then they're going, and how are we going to bypass this? Don't worry, I have flares. Well, of course you have flares. Do you have a utility belt? We've now gone into the Batman TV show realm, okay? Where whatever he needs, I swear to God, I'll bet you any money he has anti-shark repellent spray. Because whatever the episode needs the Mandalorian to have to keep the story going, the Mandalorian has. Okay? You want further proof? After they capture Fennec, okay? He goes, we need to get, what's it called again? The dew creature, whatever, right? You see a scene of magnification, okay, of a telescopic shot in infrared, and you see the desert, and you see the spot that's supposed to be the creature, right? And then the shot goes back to the Mandalorian. Well, but the Mandalorian doesn't have binoculars. So his helmet now has telescopic capabilities. He can now use his helmet as binoculars. But if that's the case, why did he need a scope in episode 2 to check out the Jawas? Do you understand? Please, I don't understand. He has a helmet that has telescopic capabilities and has infrared because they gave away the binoculars, so now his helmet suddenly has the... And you guys have no problem with it, do you? No problem at all. So then, Toro stops his bike. The Mandalorian gets shot at. And again, they're still a distance off. Then all of a sudden, Toro is behind Fennec. How? How did he get up and around so quickly? Well, because the show needed him to. And then they fight for 10 seconds, and then Mandalorian shows up. And it's like, whoa! Like, do these guys have hyperdrive? Do these guys have like mini hyperdrive capabilities? I can't. The dewback. So now, excuse me, one of the speeder bikes is busted. They only have one speeder bike. How are they all going to get back? Go get the dewback. Here's their plan. They're at this spot. Okay? They're at this spot. The Mandalorian is going to go walk all the way to the do-back and then come all the way back, and then they're all going to go together. Why not all three of them walk to the do-back, have two people go on the do-back, and then continue on? You can't do that, because then you can't have the scene with Fennec and Toro. You know what? I'm done. There's no point. It's redundant at this point, and I'm just getting pissed off, and this show isn't worth getting pissed off, and you brain dead idiots that like this show aren't worth getting pissed off over. I mean, I got more, but I'm beating a dead horse at this point, so go watch the show, go love the show, because you don't care. You're either you're brain dead idiots, or you don't care anyway, so whatever. I'm done. I'm out of here. See ya.